Sister Zenaida.
Okay.
And chapter prioress of Our Lady of Remedies. Good morning.
Good morning, Sister Jody.
It's wonderful to have you.
It's
May I call you Zenny?
Yes, of course.
All right. Your sisters call you that?
Yes.
Oh, not Mother Superior?
Oh, no, no.
But you've been Mother Superior throughout your life,
Yeah,
haven't
before.
you? Were you the head of the family, too?
No, I'm the middle child.
So you didn't have a say?
Yeah, just wandering around, trying to figure out what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
I take it you were born on one of the 7,000 islands in Philippines.
Yes, that's true.
Which island?
And Luzon, the north big island, the central part of the Philippines, yes.
Were any of the sisters of, were they called the Holy Remedies initially?
Our Lady of Remedies. Well, I think Mother Genevieve called them the Queen's Daughter.
Oh.
And then eventually they chose Our Lady of Remedies because it's the patron of the diocese.
When exactly was the congregation formed, or the beginnings?
When they,
what year?
Well, the first four were sent here in Adrian and had their training. And then in October 2, 1965, they returned to the Philippines. And that was, we call that our Foundation Day, when the bishop wrote the erection of the diocesan congregation. So we still honor that as our Foundation Day.
And you had a big celebration a couple of years ago. Yes.
Yes. We had our 50th anniversary,
Yeah.
Golden Jubilee.
How? Who ever thought of sending the four sisters initially?
The Archbishop at that time, the late Most Reverend Emilio Sinense, whom we call as founder, had the idea of having a diocesan congregation that who will help in the parishes and in the schools. He invited several congregations who are in the Philippines, but there is a nice response from outside. Mother Gerald responded that they cannot send sisters, however, they are willing to train sisters who will come back to become a diocesan congregation. So I think that evolved, and then the bishop negotiated, sent a priest to come here, and then he himself came here.
Were you one of the initial sisters in 1965, or did you enter at a later date?
I entered at a later date.
Like how many years
Later, Mary Phil and Ellen Vincent were there from 1965 to 69. And then Marcin and Sister Marcin Clem and Sister Rosemary Marson replaced the two. I was accepted, finally accepted, during Marcin's time. Mary Phil, when I first came to the convent, after our parish priest, Monsignor Gopez, announced that here is a new congregation for the diocese. All of you young girls who are interested can go and visit them. So I was one of those who visited, but I was not accepted for the first time.
Oh, shame on Mary Phil.
I was so young. I think that is the major factor, and she encouraged me to move on, do your college, and then get to know some nice boys around and live a healthy teenage life.
This was the advice of Sister Mary Philip.
Yes, at that time. And I was one of her students in college because she taught there. She taught New Testament, and Ellen Vincent taught church history. I was in their classes, both of them.
Oh, lucky you.
Lucky me. And Sister Mary Philip taught also at the Mother of Good Counsel Seminary, the seminary of the diocese. So she is revered by and loved by the seminarians, but feared also.
She was a strong teacher, shall we say? Yes.
And she, you know, what do you call this? Rhymes and so on. She had all those contests like in the choir you sing, and then this is the English, you know, tongue twisters, which I never got to do.
So how old were you when you finally got accepted?
Yes, I was 20 years old, about to graduate in college.
But
So-
Sister Mary Philip and Sister Ellen Vincent had already
No, she saw
returned.
to it that while she was there, I was in to make up from from before. Yes, I will never forget on the day I entered June 1st and they left the country June 19.
Oh,
And
sad.
I had the privilege to sit in between the two of them, giving me this and that instruction on the way to the airport.
Oh my.
Yes, they were two lovely women.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
They loved us so much, and you know, the feeling was mutual.
When you entered, how many sisters were already established?
They were already 10 at that
10.
time. So actually, I was the 12th. Chronologically, I'm the youngest for the first group.
And how many sisters are
Now,
now?
we are 37.
37. And any novices or?
We have one novice, and then we have a new candidate whom we will accept this coming October 1st. All the requirements have been sent here, and the General Council reviewed the recommendations that we had. She had been in discernment with us for a year. Sister Marisa, who was the vocation promoter, had sessions. We have this search in. That's the first stage for young women to come, ask all your questions about religious life, get to know the sisters, and then it's followed by pray in. You come and pray with those who thought they will pursue further. And then when you reach live in, you are invited to come and stay overnight or over the weekend. And then discernment process continues, you know, with the vocation promoter.
Am I correct in saying once the original 4 sisters went back, and Sister Mary Philip was there, that your congregation, as you would call it, community, became a diocesan community?
Yes.
A Dominican?
Yes.
Diocesan community.
We were oriented from the beginning that we are not going to be Adrians, but we are going to be a diocesan congregation, Our Lady, Dominican Sisters, Our Lady of Remedies.
And then, were you superior during those times when you were a diocesan
Yes.
congregation? How many times?
Well, I
10?
started. We are a small group, so the term is only 3 years. So I had 2 terms, that was 6 years, and then paused for a term, and then got elected again.
The last 6 years.
The last 6 years, and then this as chapter prioress.
And when did you, as a group in the Philippines, decide that it would be to your advantage to be connected with us rather than remain as a diocesan?
I think it was initiated during the term of Sister Donna and Sister
Donna Markham.
Yes, our prioress at that time was Sister Estrolita David. The discernment and then the discussions happened during those years. We had a lot of questions to answer and feelings to surface. And of course, we had several meetings. I was up in Norway at that time, but you know, through emails and internet, we were able to send our own opinions and feelings about it. And then this was pursued. Our council at that time, Sister Estrelita and her council, were invited here in Adrian to do further discussion with the council, Sister Donna Markham. And then it was submitted to Rome. And it took only about a year.
Oh my.
And we received the authorization to merge, and then Rome accepted the merging process.
Am I correct in presuming that key to all this was maintaining your Dominican identity?
Yes, and also all for the mission. We wanted to embrace a larger view, and we already had two foreign mission places at that time in Taiwan with migrant workers and Filipinas married to Taiwanese, and then in Norway for the migrant workers over there, not only Filipinos but from Europe, from the Middle East, and also from Africa, the asylum seekers. The Filipinos are mostly workers. They came to work. But from the Middle East and Africa, these are sort of worn, torn countries that people left their country and were permitted to be to live in the Scandinavian countries like Norway.
So you thought of yourself as a global community already, yes. And when you look back, it's been, what, almost 6 years now?
Yes.
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 Do you think that was a providential and happy move that you all made by sealing our connection with one another?
I think it's one of the best event that happened to us, and one of our best decisions, because we really prayed about it. You know, we were trained here, and it's like doing a full circle dance in coming over, and through the merger, we are a part of the whole.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, but also there are challenges, right?
Yes, yes. Given the number of sisters in your chapter right now, I'm quite inspired by the work and the mission that they have taken on. There's a variety of service that you give to the community.
Yes.
Yes. Would you mind sharing some of the unique, and I know you're in the schools and you've had a beautiful response to the building of the new school, correct?
Yes. Our special ministry, living with the indigenous people right up in the mountain. We have two young sisters who have been with them, Sister Julene Dungo and Sister Antoinette Lumbang. For the past 2 years, they were there accompanying our brothers and sisters who are indigenous peoples. But long before that, we already had like weekends. We started weekends going up to the mountain, and then finally in the 80s, we decided to mission a local community of 3 sisters to be there. And Sister Vanji was one of them. She volunteered after her term as our first prioress, Filipina prioress.
She's one of the original.
Yes, she was
here.
Yes.
Yes.
Her name then was Dominic.
She was here during Sister Rosemary Ferguson's time as prioress.
And Sister Rosemary was their postulant or formator, I think. And Sister Patrick Jerome. And this is one. So what do they do there? They assist the young Ayetas in their studies. We have high school children who stay with us in a little, connected to our house, which was converted into a dormitory. Because these children, they live in another mountain. But the school is in Villa Maria, we call it Villa Maria. So they don't have houses there, so the dorm serves as a house. And parents take turns to be house mother and to help cook and also deal with these teenagers, you know, they are their
Right.
children. That is their counterpart.
That's beautiful, keeping the family together as well as
Yes.
you can.
And then we banked on educating, giving opportunities to educate them because education is like teaching them how to fish and they will eat for the rest of their life. Yes. And we have already some teachers who are ayetas and then they became teachers. We have one forester and he went back to the
teaching.
village and doing forestry work. So we hope these young people will continue. One challenge is that they still have this matching children, you know, one family and the other family. So sometimes they don't finish college. We had two who did social work, but up to they finished until second year, and then they got married.
What do you find is the major challenge right now for the community and the area where you minister?
This is just one of the areas. So the ongoing understanding their culture and also trying to present to them possibilities of moving forward for them. That is a challenge. The other thing is the socio-political economic situation of the country. There, it's more of the disparity of the haves and the have-nots, you know, the big gap between the rich and the poor. Racism is more of the first world concern.
Really?
Yes, up here and in Europe.
Oh my. And are the indigenous people honored at all?
In some ways, yes, because we have an Episcopal Commission for Indigenous Peoples, which is supported by the Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. And the major religious superiors of the Philippines, they also have a desk for them to assist them. But you know, it's like what they did with the slaves before.
Yeah.
They are not important. They don't contribute to the progress of the country. So they are very much neglected. So being part of their developing their potentials is also a means for them to have a voice, to express their own desire. We have different tribal or indigenous peoples all over the country. But in Mindanao, they are more vigilant and probably more militant because the land, they really speak out. Because for them, they are the land. They belong to the land. And it's a matter of life and death for them. And this is very crucial, especially now that there is a lot of commercialization in the use of the land. Our country is more agricultural.
Yes, always has been.
Yes, but you know, government policies, you know, will take on technology and, you know, high-tech industries and forget about the agriculture.
Do you deal with trafficking of children and women at all?
Yes, the
That's
Dominican.
major.
Yes, the Dominican family actually. That is the number one project that we have. We try to educate children in our schools and also get involved in the anti-trafficking issues in our place. So our school in Mining is in a way a means to prevent the young people from being trafficked and so get them into the school.
The importance of education.
The importance of education, getting to know what directions in life they need.
In the past, weren't some of your sisters working primarily with the leper community?
Yes, we have a ministry in the Tala Leprosarium. This is a foundation, Holy Rosary College. It is a foundation started by our brothers, Dominican friars. It was founded by Father Hofsti, who is in the process of being beatified.
Oh, how beautiful.
He was a military chaplain, and then he saw this situation, and then it became, Tala means star, so he called them that. And we have 4 sisters administering the Holy Rosary College, elementary, high school, and then college.
So someone in the children's families.
Yes, grandparents or parents
were lepers.
Yes,
correct?
were. But the children are no longer lepers.
Yes.
Yes.
Has that been wiped out, would you say?
Probably has been cured to some extent. Actually, leprosy is not really contagious. It's about diet, the lack of nutrients. And so if some bacteria, enter the body, and that's the beginning of it. And some of our sisters also go to the hospital where the lepers are kept and cared for. And do you know that all of them are tertiaries, Dominican tertiaries?
Oh my gosh.
They pray the office and they sing our songs. Yes, it's lovely.
How beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
we should write that up for sure.
Yes.
Now, when you get back home,
Yes.
but you're home, will the sisters be waiting there for you, wanting to know the news of the day?
Of course. We will have some echoing
Yes.
of what happened here. With the 2 jubilarians also were here. They're going to echo what they experienced here. They had the retreat, and they were in different short courses and seminars around here. And myself, I usually echo what happened, what is going on, and then trying to translate from here to our situation, the priorities of the Leadership Council in relation to the living out of our enactments.
Do you have a chapter assembly?
Yes.
And that brings everybody. Do you what space do you use to bring them all back together?
We have this house, we still call it Mother House. It's next to the seminary. We have a nice hall. We call it Dominican Hall, St. Dominic's Hall, and then the chapel. And everybody, when we get home in the main house, each one has a little room over there. So if you get home, you have your room, and then we have the common room for.
And does one of the general
talks.
council representatives come, to be with your chapter meeting?
Not this time.
No.
During the session 1 for the general chapter, they were there, and 12 of them from here came, younger sisters. Marcin was there, Rose Ann Slit was there, Barb, Janice, Mary Soher, Wells, Marian Palman, and Sister Janet Doyle were the facilitators.
Oh, my.
Janet and Marian were the ones who facilitated the session 1 over there.
How beautiful.
It was really beautiful, and the impact to our sisters, like coming over here, but there it was really work, prayer, study, and discussions.
Beautiful. And you were here for the general chapter, right?
Yes, and 11 of us.
11, amen.
10 participated, and 1, Antoinette, since she was still a temporary professor at that time, she served in the secretariat. It was a beautiful experience for all of us.
Well, thank you for your presence here. It's always a joy to see you, Zeni. That we look forward to your coming with the news and the joy of your your chapter, which is always something bright and beautiful.
Thank you so much. It's
Yes.
also a privilege for us to be here.
May I ask one final question?
Okay.
How, from your heart, first of all, is one of the first four sisters still with you?
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Vanji. And Esper
Vanji.
died in 2007.
Okay,
So she's the only one now with us.
Evangeline. Well,
Mm-hmm.
give her extra hugs, will you please?
Yes, I will.
And from your experience, would you, for the sisters here in Adrian, describe Sister Mary Philip for us?
I didn't have much living experience with her, aside from being my teacher, but I observe in her as a woman of intelligence and firmness, determination. She called us a shoot by adoption, and this shoot has become a part of the whole. And she saw to it that our internal life was honored by the diocese, and she made that very strong. And this was followed up by Sister Marcine and Sister Rosemary, who took over when they left. And these are women of advanced for their times, I would say, and challenged also our structures in the diocese, but gave their best. Imagine they were forming this nucleus community in a different culture.
Amen.
And then with the differences in climate and food and so forth, and yet we're able to assist us to grow as we are now, but not imposed what they thought it will be best.
Try to change you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
Very dialogical in the process,
Yeah.
yes. I appreciate
that
that.
took a lot of faith on
Yes, on their
Ellen
side.
Vincent and
Mary Philip, Marcine, and Rosemary, yes.
Like their superior said, go,
Mm-hmm.
and they went not knowing what the
Yes,
adventure
what
would
will
be.
be? Yes,
And-
it was really an adventure, you know.
Didn't they live above a store when
Yes,
they first got there?
yes. They were above the marketplace. At 4 o'clock, everybody's swarming around and noisy.
A nice, quiet, contemplative spot.
Yes.
Oh,
You
my.
know,
Well,
until-
thank you for your presence, and thank you for sharing it, and give the Adrian love of all of us here on campus and the sisters, I'm sure, that are out on mission, but particularly those of us here on campus. Give our love to Evange and all of your,
Mm-hmm.
your
I will,
sisters.
surely
Big
will.
hugs.
Yes. Thank you so
Amen.
much.